Hey, this is Linz, and you are watching Support the Scene. Hi, my name is Linz, and this is Support the Scene. Today we have PeterTam. Hello.
Hi, Liz.
And you are a very talented musician. Could you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, your background in music?
Well, thank you. I wouldn't say I'm, most talented. I have a little bit of talent, but um, it's my background. Where should I start? I didn't start becoming working in the music industry until just maybe about 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
2019. I went to the Juno Awards. I've been with Kara for about 10 years or so. I just a member and kind of got into it, but just sort of like in the background. So 2019, I got invited to become members of judging and all that type of thing, and invited to the Juno Awards, and that's in London, Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to go and had a big banquet, had dinner with people like, and at this Juno, at 2019, David Foster was there. He was being honored. So you got David Foster, and of course you have Michael Bublé and. So I met them at the gala dinner, and I also joined into one of a songwriting session with David Foster.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of inspired me to kind of got into the music, and I. When I was young, I started playing. You can see that I'm here at my piano. I've always been playing piano, but I started with classical and then classic rock. I grew up with things like with Elton John, Billy Joe, and Styx, Supertramp. Yeah, all that classic rock. But a couple of years ago, I guess after that, after I met up with David Foster and Michael Bublé, I started to getting into the soft jazz, and it's all coming back to me from things I listened to when I was a little kid.
Yeah,
my father plays them on the vinyl, and he play all these Frank Sinatra and Nat King Cole,
yeah,
Ella Fitzgerald, so all these Louis Armstrong. All those music are just kind of in my head, and I start coming out. So that's when I'm start writing. I'm writing in that style, in that crooner, like jazz, standard jazz. See, in jazz, there's so many different type of jazz. There's a lot of things can be called jazz.
Yes.
It's really hard to define. So it's so the type of jazz that I do are the easy listening things that you would hear, from Frank Sinatra and David Foster. So it's things that Michael Bublé would be doing. So and that's the type of songs I'm writing, and then recently last year I put up an album.
Yep.
And yeah, I got a copy here. Here's it's actually an album.
Beautiful.
It's a
That's
it's a 12-inch. It's a vinyl.
Yeah.
Like everybody listens to stuff on Spotify and on all the download iTunes, all these download platforms. But mine's also on there. Everything's on the cloud. But I decided to just make this.
Make some good hard vinyls. And you know what? That's a great move. That's one of the things that honestly I feel will just carry on forever. And It's just beautiful. I love vinyl records.
I have artists working on, it's the whole cover is a piece of artwork,
I see that.
and then there's an insert that also have all kinds of artworks in it.
Gorgeous.
It's whoops, I'm gonna put on this camera. So it's, if you look at it, each song is actually a piece of artwork that is being represented on a rock.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
it's rock painting. I have an artist that does rock painting, and I got her to paint each song on a rock, and
Beautiful.
that's on the insert, so you can see that on there.
Very clever.
Yeah, so that's what's been happening. I put out the first song called "Thanks for the Rain" back in 2019. It was produced by Andrew Rensley. He was Michael Bublé's first producer. So I kind of sought him out and asked him to produce it, because I want that type of sound, that type of jazz, the type of song that Michael Bublé would sing.
Yeah.
And that's the sound I wanted. So I asked him to, produce it for me, and so he did. And we made a video and all that stuff. And then after that, I started making, second song, third song, and just, and then finally, this album doesn't have that first song on it. It's a whole new set of, new set of songs. And then this year I'm going to write some more. So just keep going and see what happens.
That's beautiful. And there ain't nothing like having bigger names sitting at the table with you and just making you feel even more inspired. Just like, it's like a whole different kind of starstruck, right? It's just like your brain's all activated with like exciting music, and also using your eyes with talented people around.
Yeah. I work with the second song. I work with a very talented trumpet player. His name is Brad Turner. He won 4 Juno Awards and 6 National Jazz Awards.
Wow.
Pretty much the best trumpet player you can think of. and I asked him to to do the trumpet part in my second song, and he did. And so yeah, I'm quite honored to have him on it. And this I'm working with a whole bunch of other people, and just slowly, I'm trying different things too. Because that's the whole thing about being creative. You want to try something new, instead of just doing the same old thing. There's pros and cons to it, because it's when you create a genre that is not, you can't define it, and you can't fit it in, pigeonhole it. So when I'm submitting to awards and shows and all that type of thing, you always have to pigeonhole everything. It says, what kind of music do you play? It's either this or that, it's either jazz, classic rock. Well, what if I want to mix them up?
Yeah.
I do this show called Dad's Music on Sunday night, because everything that I started has to do with what I hear from my dad. So I call it Dad's Music. And I invite guests in. That's why I have all this set up over here. I always have one guest who's a songwriter to come in. And I have everything from hard metal core to hip hop to folk and what else? Last night I have somebody who's doing bluegrass.
Beautiful. That's a great mix, just to give everyone some variety.
Yeah, and the neat thing is that you can be inspired from all these things to create new sound, and that's what creativity is all about. And I think sometimes in the mainstream music scene, we seem to have lost some of that. You know, every song seems to sound the same. There's this algorithm that the mainstream, the big record producer want to put out there because that's what people like, and they keep, you know, putting out the same type of thing. There's nothing really new. People still like them because it sounds familiar. And then actually, this is all facts. You know, it's like that's the way the industry is working right now. Is just that they're just putting out things that's based on a formula that works, and then you produce it and you guarantee to sell so many of it. You know, certain type of marketing. There's a formula. It's all worked out. So we lost what we used to have, you know, back in the 70s and 80s, where people are trying new things, like Queen coming up with the song Bohemian Rhapsody. It's completely, you know, out of the world. This world is this, you know, people, they were told they're not going to record it. They can't produce it, but they did. So we're not getting any of that type of thing these days. And even I know some artists are doing that, but they are bombarded with so many other things that are mainstream that they're totally lost. You know, it's really difficult for independent artists to really get their music out there and get the world to listen to it. So that's a challenge, I think, you know, coming into this new age of music and internet, especially with COVID-19. We're all kind of forced to create hybrid concerts, and that's what I've been doing. I'm just hybrid concerts, and, you know, playing from my studio and live streaming, and I'm using
secrets to getting those algorithms up.
Yeah, that's it's all about the algorithm and social media, but you know, it's so easy to be just so focused on that you forgot to do what you're here to do in the first place, which is create new music, to create something new that people never heard before, you know, to move forward in our culture, to completely redefine something new, and yeah, well, I'm just kind of a little bit lost for words there, but I just think that, you know, we're in the past 20-30 years, there hasn't really been too many completely new things that, and I think it's, you know, we need to be more conscious of just creating new things and trying new things and see what works.
Absolutely. Different new sounds, so it's not, you know, same like everyone else.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, over the years there's been evolution of music and creativity, but we just got to keep going with the creativity, not replaying the old stuff.
Yeah, but see, like the problem is that the creativity is very limited to revenue generation. You don't make money with creativity these days. You kind of follow the mode. There's certain ways of, you know, doing things, all the marketing and all that.
There's a lot of hard work behind it. Absolutely.
So the whole business side of things have a formula, and actually what I've been doing is I've been taking a course at BCIT on music business. So taking a music business course.
That is very smart. Those
Yeah.
are some of the things that in the music industry people don't really realize is you need to be business savvy, and there are important things like knowing what an NDA is, or contract music agreements, so that you deal with royalties and stuff like that.
It's a whole new. It's changing every day. There's new technology that's coming out, and as musician, we try to to stay ahead. You kind of have to always constantly looking at the new technology and see how you can make use of them. And I guess the advantage I have is before 2019, I was working for NAF Canada, which is the airport control towers.
Mm-hmm. It's a big change for you.
Yeah, so I wasn't a flight controller or anything like that, but I designed the engineering data tracking system for all the engineering to use from Victoria all the way to Moncton. So right across the country, there is a piece of system or software that manages all the engineering information. So every time they need to upgrade a control tower or a radar system, they use that, and that's my project.
Oh, awesome. That's really good. That's really smart, and knowing how to not stick with the old failing systems. You got to update.
Well, it's a fairly complicated system. It manages a ton of data and computer aided design drawings, and it's all engineering stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's managing that project actually is quite easy comparing to being a musician.
Yeah. You definitely feel the complexities of music compared to where you just have, like, even though it's bigger numbers and the science behind it, sometimes music doesn't always have the straightforward answers.
Well, it's because you have to have left brain and right brain working at the same time. You have to have the business side.
Yes.
You're managing, for like these days for indie artists, you're an entrepreneur. So you're managing your own business. You are dealing with clients, and now I'm dealing with product. Like, this is online. I have an online store going to sell records and merchandise. And
can we find to order your album for the vinyl?
Well, right now is because it just came out. I just picked them up literally 2 days ago. So right now I'm just warehousing everything just at my house. Mm-hmm. But hopefully it'll be distributed to a couple of physical stores.
Yes.
I forgot their names, but I have contact with them, and they'll be available at the stores. And
maybe Sunrise Record Store. I think a lot of musicians do that. They go to their local Sunrise, and they can put out their CDs and albums. They're really good for that.
I think that's one of them. And on my website, there's an online store, so you can click on it and put in the in basket, like the little cart, and check it out. And
do you have more merchandise other than the record to buy?
I will. I was thinking of making a few things. A
shirt, maybe a hat.
Not so much shirts and hats, because everybody makes those. I'll be making something. I don't know what yet, but I have some designs and things like that going in the back of my head. So I'll be making a few things, but actually I might be working with because right now I'm in touch with a lot of wineries.
Hmm.
I'm trying to get wineries and distilleries to sponsor my Sunday night show.
Ooh,
Um, and I'm looking at wineries specifically because I like wine. And
most of us do.
yeah, and and also the type of music I play, it kind of goes
Pairs well.
pairs. It pairs with the wine.
Then you need to also get a cheese sponsor.
Yeah, well, that's yeah, and cheese and coffee. So there's certain things that I think would fit well with the that type of product and the audience. So yeah, so the reason I mentioned wine is I might like to create my own wine.
Ooh.
I work
Would you
with a
go white
winery.
or red?
Um, Probably both.
Both?
Yeah,
Oh.
I work with a winery and just create my own little label thing.
Ooh. Do you
Yeah.
have maybe a back thought of a name that you would call it?
With the name.
Hmm.
Hmm. I would probably naming wines from some of my songs name.
Oh, that's a smart idea.
Yeah,
There
like the
you
name
go.
of the song. Like one of my songs called True Love.
Hmm.
So I think that will go really nice with a Merlot.
Yeah.
So, um, and yeah, I think I might do something like that. So, but
That's
anyway,
really
this
good
is just all in the
ideas.
back burner.
Of course.
There's so many things I'm doing. I'm actually even developing a piece of software because I'm finding that it's really difficult to manage the whole music business. Contacting people, um, working out with other musicians because I play with a trio, so I always need to set up a list of songs and try to figure out a set list and all that type of thing. And I book the shows. So I'm actually working on a piece of software, an app that helps. Right now, it just helps me to track all my contacts, or the shows, the gigs, dates, and the songs all integrated together. So I'm gonna go to this gig on Friday. I pick this one, these songs, and then I just fire them out to my musicians. They have the song list. It's all like within one complete management system.
Beautiful. That's really awesome. Uh, and good luck to you with that. I know that that's a lot of work, but
It
if it works for you, hopefully you can pass on and, help out other musicians that it would work for.
Yeah. I think that's usually how things work. Software and all that. It's tools, and you don't really know, like, if somebody doesn't know the business and not actually using it, they don't. It's hard to develop the tool. But now that I'm using it, I also have this skill that where it can develop programs. I can develop a tool that fits exactly what I wanted to do because I'm doing it. So, um, yeah, a lot of things in my I'm juggling, just juggling all kinds of stuff, and they don't. I would say maybe just what happened is that because I'm juggling so many things, I think I'm only spending about 5 to 10% of my time that's actually playing music and creating music.
Also, sounds like you might need some management to take over and do all those things for you.
Yeah, well, just like any business, as an entrepreneur, you start off pretty much doing everything on your own. And when things start picking up, then yeah, you bring in people, you hire people. So I'm starting from scratch. I've never been in this music business before. Just
It's a
2
learning
years.
process, and
Yeah,
you've done really good of building what you have and what you are now, and your show and stuff that you do. That's really great. I
the
think.
show is really just to let me connect and network with people.
Mhm. Well, networking is a huge thing in the music industry.
Exactly. Yeah. So and it's great because what I do is I invite a guest over. We they come over at 6 and we go over the songs. 7 o'clock we go live, and then we finish at 8 o'clock, and then we sit down for a meal. Actually, I invite them to stay for. I have dinner for them,
Oh,
and
that's
and
so nice of
wine
you. Yeah.
and wine and beer and we have more connection. So we have the connection of chatting and learning more about each other online, for the audience, and then also offline, and we talk about more stuff. So quite often, my guests kind of hang around until almost like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So, but then, yeah, and I'm doing it Sunday night. I don't know if it's. I think a lot of people are doing things Sunday night. Sunday night seems to be a good night to do these peripheral things, such as streaming and as supplements. Some of the shows, as supplements, some of the things that I do.
Yeah.
Whereas I leave the Friday nights and the Saturday nights. Usually they're nights for live gigs. Now that live gigs are coming back, I'm starting to book things, but I found that people are still a little bit cautious about booking in a whole bunch of because there's a cost to it too. When I'm booking a trio, I have to make sure that we have enough revenue to make sure that everybody gets paid. The model that I'm working on is a little bit different from some of the bands one. Usually with the bands, each band members basically take a share. So you make $300 and each person makes $100 if it's a trio. But the way that I work is I pay everybody a fair wage. So it doesn't matter how much we make. The musicians that plays with me are guaranteed to make the $150, $125, $150 for a 1 hour show. Whatever the going rate is, I make sure people are being paid union going rates.
Yeah, just keeping it fair, and that's really nice of you. And I'm glad that there's someone that has that insight. Putting on a show, working with artists, and making them feel that they are being treated equally or a little bit more. So.
Well, yeah, I'm looking at myself as a company, as an employer.
Yeah.
That's how I'm treating it. I'm an employer. I hire people, and I pay them, fair wages of exactly what they're worth for what they do and the amount of time and so forth. Because I am the company myself. I'm not Otherwise, there are bands out there. It's a different model. Bands would work with, each band member is a partner in the business. So the business will, they grow together and they share everything together. So I just do it differently, and I guess it kind of gives me the flexibility because sometimes I might not have certain musicians available. I have the two guys I play with all the time, but there are times when they're not available and I have to bring another person in, and that's one of the main reasons too why I have to manage these like gigs. I have to manage the gigs with all the songs and everything, so that I can have
much work that goes into it, and
I can bring in last minute. I can bring in a bass player, and I have all the charts, everything for them. They would know exactly what key to play them in. How each song would go. It's almost like a symphony orchestra. Everything is all spelled out, and I can just bring anybody in to do it. So the advantage for me to do that is so that I don't have to turn down gigs just because my bass player can't make it. I don't have to say no. I can still, do it. And I can be flexible to play either as a trio or duet or a full band. And sometimes I play with a quintet with 5 people. So
Well, that's really awesome. I really look forward to hearing you live and watching some of your shows. So I really appreciate you also being on here, Peter. Thank you so much. And could you just tell everyone one more time how they can find all your social media and any of your social media tags?
Well, yeah, actually, I think you can see it on my ticker stream on the bottom there.
This is your website?
Yeah, PeterTam.ca.
Okay, and then when they're just looking for your music, YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that, it's just PeterTam.
Yeah, and YouTube, I have all my Sunday nights live stream is on YouTube. So you can catch, all these different artists, and it's not just me. Again, all kinds of, really exciting songwriters that's coming on and talking about their story. And I had one guy 2 weeks ago. He was talking about, he's a little bit older than I am, but he started off and he started playing when he was 15, 17. And he came this close to, he actually have record contracts. He was about to sign with Columbia, and then the deal didn't go through because of the legal stuff. Yeah. So it's pretty important about, all these, for young, new musicians to understand, what you're signing, what you're getting into, and all that. So the show is not just about the music, but there's a lot of history, different experience from different musicians. And so some of the students that I'm taking a course with, I asked them, we should watch this episode because this guy is talking about, record companies and the deals that didn't go well.
Okay, well that's so great. I really love that you have so much for everyone to learn. Again, thank you for being on here. I really appreciate all your time. So, my name is Linz, and this is Support the Scene. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. This is Support the Scene. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell, follow, and share.